The big news to focus on this week is obviously the transfer window is shut, the international transfer window in the Premier League. So I've given my grades over on ProSoccerTalk at NBCSports.com. So feel free to check those out and then rip them to shreds, because there's a lot of debate, shall we say, over some of the grades I've given out. But I've been looking at, what teams have done the best business, who's won the window, who needed to do a little bit more. And don't forget, Premier League and Football League clubs can still do business until October the 16th at 12 p.m. Eastern time. That deadline's shut, so there's still a chance for Premier League teams to get a few players out, bring some in from maybe the Championship or even lower down. So a few deals to happen, but the big international deals, the big ones for all the big boys, have been done. So Nick Mendola, I'm going to start with you. Which team won the summer window in the Premier League?
It's really tight for me. Really, really tight for me, but I'm going to go with Tottenham. And the reason I want to go with Spurs, maybe it's because I just watched a Jose Mourinho video that blew my mind, but Sergio Reguilon, first of all, that gets the heart eyes emoji for me. I think he's exactly what Mourinho wants in a guy on the left side. The video of, and who knows what's going to happen, but the video of Carlos Vinicius, I mean, he looks like Richarlison with quicker feet. I'm so excited to see him as a guy they may want around for 20 minutes at a time. Come on. I mean, you got Bale, Bergwijn, Son, Kane. Lamella's looked great this year, I thought. And then after all that, maybe Dele figuring it out. So they're going to challenge defenders with so many different attack styles. And I haven't even named all the moves they made. So it's not just about the 6 goals. I think they've pushed the right buttons, and we'll get into it in my 3 things we learned. But Moo showed us a thing or two this weekend.
Andy, do you agree with that on Spurs? And is there another team you think came out on top?
Yeah, it's hard not to agree. And to finish the list there for Nick, Matt Doherty, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, who was sensational on Sunday against Man United. 10-man, Man United, of course. But he's exactly, to Nick's point, he's exactly the player that Mourinho would want in that position there in front of the back line. He fits perfectly. He's the player that they've not had the last couple of seasons under Pochettino, under Mourinho. So they're too deep at every single position now. And when was the last time you could say that about Spurs? Even at striker, they have a backup striker for the rest of this season. It's unprecedented. Really, my only question about them is now when it goes wrong, what does Mourinho blame? Because it's always, I need this, I need that, I need this, I need that. It's on him now. He's got everything that he could ask for and everything that he has asked for. Another team that I thought did exceptional business in this window, Aston Villa. Maybe better than anybody else in the league. I think I would put them right up there with Spurs, with Everton as well. We saw what Ollie Watkins did against Liverpool on Sunday with the hat trick. That might be the high watermark for him coming over for $36 million from Brentford. I think he'll be a useful player. I think situationally, if they set up right to counterattack against teams, that he could be really good. Ross Barkley with a goal on his debut, an assist or 2 as well. Everything that they've done so far to start the season has just seemed to work. And Dean Smith is kind of a project builder. He did that at Brentford. And so he needed, I think, a little bit of time, maybe that first season, to get himself settled in, start getting the team and the squad built the way that he wants it. And once he gets it fully there, we might see Aston Villa kind of solidify themselves as a mid-table side for a couple seasons before then they can look and say, okay, what can we do now to kind of push on top 8, top 7 type of push? And so I've been very, very impressed with not only what they've done on the field, but in the market as well.
I'm going to go with Everton. I think, talking about teams who are pushing themselves onto the next level, did a lot of their business early, which I really liked, with Alan coming in, Abdoulaye Doucouré, really just rebuilding that whole midfield. And then James Rodriguez, I mean, come on. He's been brilliant. If he can stay fit, he could be the signing of the whole season, or the best signing Everton have made in a long, long time, because they brought in so many players, but he loves playing under Ancelotti. You can see the smile on his face, and he's just got that extra class to make all the players around him better. Calvert-Lewin scoring. So I love what Everton have done. And then I think the 2 London Giants as well, Arsenal and Chelsea. Yeah. Obviously, Chelsea have spent a lot of money. I was at Chelsea Crystal Palace when they comprehensively beaten 4-0 at Stamford Bridge. Havertz and Werner are still kind of settling in, but Thiago Silva, after the little mishap against West Brom, played a lot better. His positioning, his experience, that really seemed to rub off on Zuma. Chilwell was flying down the flank and got a goal and an assist. And I think Chelsea have done a really good a job of spending the money wisely. It's a lot of money, but as we said before, this has been building up for a couple of transfer windows now, so they've made the most of it and done it. And in Arsenal, decent window overall with Willian and Gabriel coming in, but then obviously a party, if you will. That really kind of capped things off with Thomas Partey coming in. He's the player that they needed. So that's the teams who did well and won the window. Lads, pick one team each who needed to do more. I already know who you're probably going to go with here, but Nick, who needed to do more in the transfer window for you?
I'm gonna leave you guys the big dogs, and I'm gonna go with Burnley. You talk about Aston Villa and how they could solidify themselves in mid-table and then build from that. And I realize bigger historic club, more resources, all of that is true. But whereas Sean Dyche has outperformed expectations. I remember the Sports World article we had a few years ago where basically he did an interview in a closet with one light bulb. I just wonder, at what point do they just expect him to keep grind? Like Ashley Barnes kicked a guy from Newcastle in the midsection yesterday. That's how they get it done, or a couple days ago. That's how they get it done. I just want, what are the expectations? Is Dale Stephens going to save your club? Do you expect one man to keep getting his players to play way beyond themselves? And I don't get it, and I'm very worried about them.
Andy, who are you worried about?
I'll take the easy big boy, the one that Nick teed up and left for us. Manchester United. What are you doing? What have you been doing all summer? What did you do last summer? What did you do the summer before that and the summer before that? We talked a little bit last week about not having a plan for how you're going to build your squad, how you're going to spend tens and even hundreds of millions of dollars on players in the transfer market. That seems, like criminal negligence at this point, the way that United have gone about their business, the way that they seem to do it almost publicly for show to appease people without ever really achieving anything. The Jadon Sancho pursuit all summer long, it never felt like they got close at all. Like it never felt like it got past, we'll give you 70 or 80 million. Yeah, well, we want 120 or 130 million. Okay, well, we'll give you 72 million. It never progressed for them. And we were talking a little bit on Monday, and Joe, you said something that I thought made a lot of sense. At some point, they're going to end up paying whatever it is that Dortmund want for Jadon Sancho. It seems like it's a foregone conclusion. So why not do it now? Why not get him in now? And even if they would have got him in on Monday on deadline day, you've still wasted 3 games of the season. You've still wasted any buildup to the season. It's just, it seems so sporadic, like they're throwing darts at a board to make decisions at that club. And then they go spend, almost $40 million, $30 million on an 18-year-old that, all due respect to him, nobody's really heard of. And he's going to then arrive in January with the hopes of, we're struggling a little bit. Can this guy be the spark that we need? Can he save our season? The answer is probably no.
No, I think the lack of deals and kind of just scrambling on the final day of the window raveled into the 6-1 defeat at home by Tottenham 24 hours earlier. Just, you wonder what's going through Ed Woodward's mind. As you said before, Jadon Sancho, the big name recruits they always seem to be linked with. Is that almost something with them being listed as a company on the New York Stock Exchange to keep, expectations high, to kind of keep that machine and wheel turning? Because at the moment, all it's doing is creating problems for Ed Woodward. You're being linked all summer long. As you said, you look negligent. You look like you're not doing your job properly. And I think that Manchester United now have a really imbalanced squad. They brought in Cavani.
Yes.
And they've gone all out to strengthen areas that didn't need strengthening, basically.
Donny van de Beek is a good player. He's a very good player. He's the same player as Pogba and Bruno Fernandes in the things that he does. He is a ball-progressing central midfielder. They have 3 ball progressors, whether dribbling with Pogba and van de Beek or an incisive passer with Fernandes. They have no one to get them the ball when the other team has it. This
goes back to the whole question. I'm sure we'll talk about it a lot this season, but director of football. They need one. They need a philosophy. It's none of it's connected. None of it's joined up. I feel a little bit sorry for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at times because you can clearly see what he wants, but it's not happening, not being done. So I'm going to focus on Man City as well. I don't think they got the defenders in they needed. Ruben Diaz is good. Nathan Ake is good. But I still don't think in the fullback positions they strengthened. So this is an opportunity to kind of close that gap on Liverpool. They haven't done that. And I'm looking around at West Ham, poor old David Moyes. I mean, they didn't get really anybody in, obviously through the windows. Kufel come in at right back, and Fulham as well seemed very haphazard last minute, kind of scrambling around for centre backs and defenders. think it's going to be a long, hard season for them as well. So quick hit to finish with on the segment. Nick, your best signing of the summer transfer window. Go ahead.
Thomas. Not because I think he's the best player of the bunch, but he's exactly what Arsenal needed. When everyone says that and no one really argues because they've been missing that dude for what, 2 years? Longer? I think it's a great, great move. I love it.
Andy, what about you?
Yeah, in theory, I agree with that, but I'll say this: I don't think you can discount the Diego Simeone effect of a defensive midfielder or a defender coming from that club and then going somewhere without that similar defensive structure around him and expect the exact same success and performances from that. I'm going to take
I agree
of a long C approach.
But quickly, I like Gabriel behind him. I think Arteta is a smart coach for that. And also, don't forget, the rumor was about a month and a half ago that Atletico Madrid, who doesn't pay a lot of people a lot of money, offered to double his wages to keep him there. And he was like, no, I want to test things. So I think they see his value. So I agree with you on the whole, but micro, let's see what happens.
Yeah, let me take another easy one here real quick. I'll just say James Rodriguez. He's been, with all due respect to Everton, without the politics stuff that seems to be attached to James and the injuries the last couple of years, he has no business being at a club like Everton. Everton have no business having a player of his. We're 6 years removed from him being one of the best players, one of the 3 or 4 best players in the world at that World Cup down in Brazil, and he was destined for super duper stardom, and it just didn't quite happen. And now he's at Everton. But good for Everton. Really good for Everton.
Yeah, I was going to take him. It's the perils of going last in this situation for me. So I'm going to go for, I think that kind of sneaky good, but Højbjerg could turn out to be one of the most important signings that Tottenham have made in a long time. All the other names are kind of flashier, but as we saw against Man United, he's a ball-winning machine. He's a Mourinho player. He's the general they've needed in the heart of midfield there. We know they're good going forward. All they need is another centre-back, and I think they're really going to be set up to contend in the years to come. So that's our look at the transfer window, the summer of madness that it was. The saga's dragged on. I've gone and looked at transfer grades over on ProSoccerTalk at NBCSports.com. So head on over there, see which grade I've given your team, and then we can have some more banter and analysis about it going forward.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe. Make sure you subscribe to watch highlights all season long and always join us every weekend at 7 a.m. on NBCSN for Premier League mornings. Plus, make sure you subscribe to Peacock Premium as well, where you can watch exclusively live 175 games and same-day on-demand replays of all 380 Premier League matches as well.